10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all the friends in the US and good evening to all the friends in China. My name is Dengting Boyanton. I'm the current president of Sino-American Educational Research Association, SAEI, and I will be a host for this forum today. First of all, on behalf of the SAERA Executive Board, I would like to welcome you all to Love, Unity, Peace, and hope for the international collaboration in the era of pandemic. Welcome, everybody. I know most of you are old friends of this forum and are very familiar with this event, but I know some of you are new and joining us for the first time. So next, I will give you a brief orientation about this forum, its background, core values, procedures, and requirement. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic is one of the most dangerous challenges facing the world today. Out of the more than 200 affected countries, the United States has suffered the greatest number of infections and mortalities. These numbers are not just cold numbers. They represent lives and families. For every person who dies, many more have lost their loved ones. Millions of people are under stay-at-home orders, and unemployment, financial difficulties are pervasive. Governments believe the world is entering a great economic recession and are overwhelmed by new difficulties and challenges every day. However, as much damage as the virus itself has caused, more damage has been caused by hostile relationship and divisiveness, racial discrimination, political divisions, the exclusion of foreigners, and tension between the government and their people, and stress, depression, and anxiety. Instead of fighting the COVID-19 together as a unified human race, the pandemic has been marked by violence, racism, xenophobia, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. Protests against the police brutality have become a daily occurrence, and stress, anxiety, depression have been reported in several cities. We have to ask ourselves, when mankind is faced with huge disasters and the world encounters huge challenges, what responsibilities does each of us as global citizens bear? How should each of us, our global citizens, face it actively? Such times demand that we rise to new levels of compassion, kindness, and self-sacrifice. We must show goodwill towards the people of every country, every creed, and conviction. We are all suffering together as one world, and we will only emerge from this crisis by acting as one world. The international conflicts and political divisions have made the situation more chaotic and even more dangerous. Such difficult times require us to be more unified, more loving, more committed to in working together, fighting our common enemy, the COVID-19 together. More than ever, the current crisis situation requires us to be more unified, more friendly, more trusting, more mutually supportive, and more firmly unified. It is under this challenging historic background, the Global Village Academy of the SAERA launched a series of Global Village Forums with the theme of love, unity, peace, and hope. It is our hope that through having this kind of in-depth, rational, intellectual dialogue with experts and scholars, we can raise the awareness of love, unity, and peace, and we can collaborate to fight the pandemic together. This forum invited a total of 18 speakers, will last for 4 months, 15 weeks, and 112 days. It has its grand opening on July the 4th, the National Day of the United States. It will last till October 24th, 2020. It meets weekly every Saturday from 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Beijing time and 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. We strongly believe through ongoing peaceful dialogue and exchanges, love will conquer hatred, unity will conquer divisiveness, equality will conquer racial discrimination, people will conquer hegemony, peace will conquer violence, and cooperation will conquer epidemic. Today, we are very honored to have invited Dr. Lynn Goodwin from the University of Hong Kong to visit our global village as our invited speaker. So next, please allow me to introduce Dr. Lynn Goodwin. Dr. Lin Goodwin is the Dean and Professor of Faculty of Education at the University of Hong Kong. Prior to joining Hong Kong University in 2017, she was Vice Dean at the Teachers College, Columbia University in New York, and is the Evan Deng Foundation Chair of Education. She's a past Vice President of American Educational Research Association, AERA, Division K, Teaching and Teacher Education, and the inaugural Dr. Ruth Wong Professor of Teacher Education at the National Institute of Education, Singapore. In 2015, Dr. Goodwin was honored as a distinguished researcher by AERA's Special Interest Group, research on the education of Asian and Pacific Americans. Dr. Goodwin's research focuses on teacher and teacher-educator beliefs, identities, and development, equitable education and powerful teaching for immigrant and minoritized youth, international analysis comparison of teacher education practice and policy, the particular issues facing Asian and Asian American teachers and students in the U.S. schools, and the recent publications include Globalization, Global Mindsets, and Teacher Education, Invited by Action in Teacher Education. Her latest book, co-authored with E.L. Low and Linda Darling-Hammond, is Empowered Educators in Singapore, How High-Performing Systems Shape Teaching Quality. So welcome, Dr. Lin Goodwin. And next, it is also my honor to introduce our today's discussant, Dr. Kimberly White-Smith. Dr. Kimberly White-Smith is a professor of education and dean at the University of Louvain's La Vertra College of Education, which has more than 10 million in grants and donor monies to create innovative programming and scholarship for students. She is the intellectual force behind a number of scholarly endeavors that foster academic justice for traditional undeserved students through enhanced educational environment policies and teaching strategies. She has authored articles and book chapters on diversity, inclusivity, and leadership, such as the struggle for identity in the teacher community in Etta Rollins' latest book, Learning to Teach in Urban Schools. And that's why I stay in school. Black mothers' parental involvement, cultural wealth and exclusion in their sons' schooling, and just as bad as prisons. The challenges of dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline through teacher and community education, co-authored with Quaylan Allen, the Urban Education and Equity and Excellence in Education. She is part of a national conversation on teacher education through her leadership positions such as Program Chair of Division K, Teaching and Teacher Education 2013 to 2016, and a member of Program Committee, American Education of College of Teacher Education. So welcome, Dr. Kimberly White-Smith. All right, so next, I am going to introduce the program of today. So the whole event consists of 3 parts. The first is the invited speaker by Dr. Goodwin, which will take about 15 minutes. And then the discussant, Dr. White-Smith, will respond to the talk about 15 minutes. And then finally, we will have about a 10-minute Q&A session. So please have your question ready. And also, in order to minimize the interruptions, please send your questions or any comments, ideas in the chat box. And our discussion facilitator volunteers will collect all the questions and send them to the MC. And also, please, as a reminder, please mute your microphone during the whole event. Thank you. And also to make sure the whole event will run smoothly, the entire event will be conducted in the speaker's native language. Here today will be in English. So anyone who needed the translation, the Chinese translation, you can read the subtitles at the bottom of the screen. So without further ado, so please welcome today's guest speaker, Dr. Lin Goodwin, also my colleagues at AERA, and also one of my role models, Dr. Lin Goodwin. The title of her talk is Equitable Mindsets and Empowering Pedagogies and Love. Please welcome Dr. Lin Goodwin. All right, Dr. Lin Goodwin, you can get started.